Hello YouTube, this is the Galway Gamer, and we're back with the final part of our Let's Play Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen. We're going to be fighting the last boss, Daimon. And yeah, so pretty much I've recorded this fight like 10 times, and every time I've got my ass kicked, so hopefully this time I won't have to delete the recording and, you know, start again. We're pretty ready for this. I've actually got tons of wake stones, like, I mean, literal tons of them. Let's see how many Magnus has. 20 wake stones, just so we can get through this horrible, horrible fight. Okay, I love the fight. It's really good because there's a really good moveset, a lot more moves than the standard enemies in the game. Really fun, but the problem is a lot of the hitboxes are kind of wonky. Way too many unavoidable attacks, and the damage you do is pretty subpar. I also had to change out Magnus's High Blight. Even though I love this spell, he wouldn't stop casting it. Every time he started casting it and stopped casting it, like he couldn't. Magnus done no damage in any of my previous attempts. So yeah, hopefully we can get it done now. Okay, he's casting Fulmination, I think, which is also... Go on, Magnus. Get that cast done. Excellent. What I'm going to do is quickly, because we want to take advantage of this Fulmination. Wait, did he cast Fulmination and then just cancel it straight away? Ah, he's still bugged, and fuck, this boss is ridiculous in his hitboxes. Why am I literally climbed on and grabbed his chest and it goes to the arm. The hitboxes are just, like, the model is really awkward. And I can't even grab onto him for more than 1 minute. Really awful flaws with this fight. Moveset's great, everything else about him is pretty awful. Takes no damage, you know. He's just a sponge cake.
When he came to face the dragon, he was given a choice too hard, too cruel to make.
Look, I can't even get one hit in him because he's always just fucking knocking me off. What a retard. I can't wait to butcher this prick. He's just an asshole.
Those words saw him become the monster he is now.
Oh my god, can you please stop doing this? Now he's just spamming Fulmination, nothing else. I just need to take spells off his bar and maybe he'll start punching people and stop being a retard. God, this game is full of retarded AI. I hung on there? Why?
Please, you must free him.
Oh, knocked off by not even... For God's sake. Jesus Christ. Finally. Oh, watch, knocked off straight away. Great. What a joke. Look at his health too, it's ridiculous. The thing is, I'm gonna win this fight no matter what. I have 20 wake stones, so even if he just does this shit all day, I can still win. I was like, if this boss is just gonna be, you know, a shit boss because of this awful hitboxing, well, then I'll just be a shit player and, you know, spam wake stones all day instead of spending 3 days fighting this goddamn boss. Look at him just backpedaling all the fucking time, kicking me in the face. God damn it. By the way, I'm not gonna like stoop to the level of summoning more than more than my own Tom, because that just ruins the fun. Because I didn't do the rest of the game with more than me and Magnus. For very few impossible parts, I summoned a couple of friends' pawns, but That was an exception, and never for an end boss. Not for Briggery, not for anyone. God damn it. So frustrating. Like, you guys have no idea how annoyed I am right now. I've been at this for like 3 hours. This one time, he spammed lightning bolts at me, and every time that my character got up, it hit me with another bolt. And it was like it forever. It wouldn't stop. It was like those lightning bolts. Oh, there's 2 Harspud sauces there, I'll get those. This fulmination does barely any damage too, this lightning. Bow does barely any damage either. He's kind of resistant to magic in general, I guess. What are the chances of him not, you know, cheesing the hell out of me whenever I climb him? Like, the only way I can do any damage to him is hitting his head with while I'm climbing him. God's sake. This guy's the Donald Trump of bosses in that he's shit and talks too much. And I hope that offends you. Oh my god. And yeah, he just kicks me off. Thankfully, you know, he literally can't kill me this at all, ever. I'm not even gonna bother healing anymore. Just, you know, give me some wake stones there, mate. Give me 14. I have like 14 lives. Like, you know, what's the worst he can do to me? Oh, I died? Nah, not really. Like, okay, this boss, you know, this boss, he does twice as much damage to you, okay? So he 2-hits you, always, instead of 3-hits you. But you do respectable damage to him. Like, if you use a skill, it's gonna take more than 1% of his health bar away. Yeah, that would be a good boss, but with this ridiculous, like sponge fest that this boss is, where you literally... you only ever get comboed out, like, randomly. And look, he does this all of the time, hops me off a fucking wall. What a retard. I'm just gonna bring him to the center of the room. Oh, dead again? Not really. Well, at least I come back with full health and stamina. God, I'm so annoyed. I get frustrated a lot with these games, especially this one, because of the really bad damage reduction system, the way it works, and the way that like if you're underleveled, you do nothing to bosses. It's not even fair. And like if you're overleveled, you make bits. It makes the bosses extremely unbalanced, which is okay, I guess, for an MMO or something like that, but not for a single player game where you're just trying to have a good time. That knocked me off that time. I'm okay with that one, but not the other one where he just starts spinning around like an idiot. And I don't like when he backpedals either, because it's just frustrating. Okay. I guess I'm just gonna go over to Magnus and get the fulmination and electrocute him. I'm dead again anyways. Well, not dead. Another 20 lives. GG, good boss design. What the hell? Okay, I mean, I stood there. That was completely fine. That was just him punching me in the face, which is one of his moves, and it was because I was in his way. Nothing wrong with that, but what's wrong with it is his other moves, the ones that clearly don't hit me and do damage to me, and then when he automatically knocks me off as soon as I climb him, which is my only way of doing damage to him because of the bad damage design, and it just adds up to being a frustrating overall boss fight. It's just no damage. Like I've literally spent, I don't know how long I've spent on this boss, but I imagine it's 5 to 8 minutes, maybe even more, and he's just, you know, done nothing. He's just done shit like this for all of that time, and I've done barely any damage to him. You know, it's something where I can find like Dark Souls 2 the easiest, like one of the easiest games. You know, I died less than 10 times in the entire playthrough, and in boss fights I only died like 3 times to Aldia because he kept doing that stupid giant fireball attack. In the entire game, yet I've died like 20 times to this boss, who's much easier, but is just a ridiculous mess of damage, unbalanced completely. And it's so disappointing because this boss has so much potential. If it wasn't for this ridiculous system of the damage threshold and the hitboxes, it would be great. He has a good moveset, and he actually suits Dragon Dogma's jumping system really well, because you can jump over his legs. I'm actually getting some good hits off here. Okay, so this is what we're going to do here. We're just going to put everything into this. Magnus may die. If he does, whatever. First off, we're going to use Liquid Vim. This completely gives us infinite stamina for a short period. Then we're going to use 2 Tagulus. Then we're going to, you know, go down here and use the Conqueror's Periopt. It's this one. No, it's not this one. It's this one. Then we're going to use this Vigor Extract. And then we're going to give Magnus 3 of these. I know this is a long rigmarole. And then we're going to use this. No, we're not giving it to Magnus, we're using it. Then we're going to do this. This will pretty much allow us to tear through the boss and make it ridiculously easy. Hardest boss ever went from to easiest boss ever in just a few seconds because of the weird damage system. So as you can see, I'm doing ridiculous damage right now just because I'm barely above his defenses, but earlier on I was doing none, and that's the boss done. Rest in peace. And I hope you enjoyed this episode of Cheesing Bosses 101. Ooh, easy mode. And now you understand my complaints, right? I'll shut up for the cutscene though, all due respect.
Steel-hearted kinsman, you have my thanks. To destroy is simpler than to create, and harder still is to see aught to fruition, to end it rightly. The infinite chain is yours, Arisen, to grant measure, to give what shape you will. And I, at last, can step beyond its span. My brethren, dearest Aura.
Okay. Okay, so I'm not going to finish this episode here. I'm just going to finish up with my thoughts on the game, and then I'm going to do probably the last cutscene, which is outside, I think. We got some interesting loot from this. We got the Bitterblack armor level 3, which is unavailable until you get to this point. I believe you can also get a second one in a chest near, but I'm not sure. Now, I think this is a great game, first off. I don't think it's a good game. It's not a great game. It's plagued with a lot of flaws. It has a lot of good things, mainly atmospheric, though. We've got a few levels there as well. So you got really interesting monster design. Like the actual models for everything is amazing. The armor models, great. The standard enemy models, amazing. The enemy bosses, amazing. The voice acting is kind of average. There's some good voice actors. I like a lot of the voice acting, and there's some that's really crappy, and especially the animation for the lips. But I understand, since it's a Japanese game, that may have been something that they looked over, and I can forgive them for that, of course. The music is fantastic. It's superb. In fact, it's probably one of my favorite soundtracks to any game ever. It's really, really perfect. The zone design in Bitterblack Isle is exceptional. In the main game, it's very boring and bland. It's not a lot going on, unfortunately. In most games, there's like the snow area, the grass area, and I mean, I guess that's cliched too, but it's not much better in this game. I mean, it's actually worse in this game because there is no snow area. There is no, this area, that area, whatever. It's all kind of grassland. I mean, there's mountains and there's a forest, but it's. I guess it's more realistic. But I mean, in a game where there's monsters, do you really give a shit about realism? It's. I mean, it's a bit ridiculous. Now, there's going to be another cutscene once I get out of here, so I'm going to not leave here yet. I'm actually just going to finish off talking, and then I'll finish on the cutscene. The game has an awful lot of flaws, not least of which is its damage system, its statistic system. So the defense, magic defense, and strength and magic attack, all those stats are awful. The reason they're awful is because, as I've probably complained about a lot through the playthrough, is you fight a boss that's slightly above your level and he becomes nearly impossible. You fight a boss slightly below your level and he's really easy. Why is this? Because a boss with 400 defense, while you have 500 attack, will take 100 damage from you. If you've just 400 attack, though, he'll take no damage from you. Why? Because his defense is the same as your attack, so he reduces your attack by 400 when damage is getting calculated. It doesn't work exactly like that. There's a little bit of damage that gets through no matter what. I believe, I'm pretty sure, but I'm not sure on the exact specifics. However, I do know that roughly that's how it works. Now, this is clearly a problem, because as you've seen with Daimon, we were doing 0 damage to him. Now, when he went into his weakness mode, I then used a couple of items that boosted my strength up by 80%. So it gave me from, let's have a look, on our status screen, it gave us from 1242 strength up to roughly 2100, and the difference between that was no damage to killing a boss in one phase, in one small little vulnerability phase, less than 30 seconds after spending 8 minutes on a fight. I don't know if it was exactly 8 minutes, you guys can tell me, I haven't looked at the timer on the video. So after 8 minutes, it took 30 seconds to finish him off because of one set of items. One bunch of items, and it only stacks up to 4 times strength booster, so I did use the normal amount. You can't boost it higher than that, so in game it's expected that you'll use them on difficult bosses. So why is it that you can turn ridiculously difficult to kill sponge bosses into Swiss cheese in a matter of seconds just because of a couple items? Because bad game design, that's why. It's really not fun. It takes a lot of the challenge out of the game. But the thing is, the problem before it is, it's not a challenge to begin with. It's just ridiculously boring. I fought that boss today about maybe 6 or 7 times. I'd say maybe even a bit more, and I was recording all of it, and a lot of cursing, a lot of giving out because of how painful the enemy was, and that was through all of the enemies. If you remember in my original playthrough of the base game, I had nothing but problems with the first griffin. I had to summon pawns, my friend's pawns, just to do any damage to it. The same was for an ogre. If you remember that ogre in one of the early episodes, that's an early encounter, and I just couldn't touch the damn ogre because the defense was higher than my attack. And you might say, well, maybe you should be appropriate leveling gear. Well, I am. I was recommended by my friends, to be level 60. That's about the recommended level, but they told me that even then you might find it a little easy. And I found a lot of the base enemies easy, but then the bosses I couldn't touch at all. And that's with level 2 weapons. Let's have a look at my equipment here. Now, this is a Dragonforged level 2 bow, and it was not doing any damage to Daimon. This is actually undragonforged, and it was doing a little damage. Much too little, really, but still a little damage, and that's a 2-star. And these are both level 2 Bitterblack items. Now, you can't get level 3 items till you've killed the Daimon, so they are best in slot. Maybe not fully upgraded, but they'd only get in maybe 100, 200 extra damage out of them anyways at max. And you can only fully upgrade them with materials you get from Death and Daimon, which are obviously you need to kill Daimon first. Or I think you can kill Death before Daimon, but you get my point. It's a very difficult thing, and they'd be much harder to kill than Daimon. So my complaint is that the game suffers from a lot of flaws, and these flaws are mainly in its mechanics, how it handles its mechanics, and a lot of it's design flaws. But the game looks great, and I really enjoyed the game, and I think it's a fun game, and I would recommend it to you if you're kind of on the fence about buying this. I mean, you've seen me being frustrated, but that's because I was doing a let's play, and I wanted to keep it pace. I mean, if you spend your time in the main game, you'd explore every area, do every side quest, you'll probably be like a level 100 or something by the time you get here, and you might have a much funner, more enjoyable time than me. But by then you might be tearing through making Swiss cheese of Daimon anyways, and thus it won't be a challenge anymore. So, as I said, there's not a lot of balance in this game, but it's still a fun game regardless. If you're looking for a challenge, I would say it's possibly challenging, but you have to make it challenging. And if you're looking for just a good time, then it can give you that. So yeah, that's my opinions on the game. I won't go too deep into every little aspect. I think it looks and feels great. I think its mechanics are extremely lacking, and its damage and combat, the way it's calculated, is possibly the worst I've ever seen in any game that I've played. So yeah, let's continue.
I fancied myself a strong man. Strong enough to protect someone. Strong enough to love someone. I longed to prove it. To myself as much as any other. Longed to show that I could give aught back and not simply take. And yet, in that moment, I chose to cast it all away. Though I cursed the world, what was writ true in my soul was an apology to you and our master who fostered a soul within you.
You have not left to prove, my sweet, for I have known your love, and know it still. I have e'er wished nothing more than to share in your world, be it within the endless chain or beyond. Let us find our place together.
Okay, so I guess that was Daimon. I kind of wanted to punch him there. Yeah, I really loved the expansion. I actually thought it was better than the base game, if I'm honest. I mean, in actual atmosphere, it still carries the same, I think. Bosses are still as cool, I think, and I really like the Gazer fight, and even the Dark Bishop. You know I have problems with Daimon, but mainly they're not because of Daimon, they're because of other things, and I was very frustrated, and my opinion is probably coming from a bit of a more cynical, frustrated side, but yeah, I mean, I was frustrated because of the game. You know, I wasn't frustrated because something else and taking it out on the game. I was actually frustrated by the game, and maybe it did get to me, but whatever. Yeah, I think there might be another cutscene. That's why I'm skipping, and you know, I'll see that cutscene and maybe end on that, because we did see Oliver get up, and she's still alive, so maybe she is something for us. Yeah.
I feel as if freshly awakened from some long dream. Yet I heard clear each word exchanged between you and the one who possessed me. I remember them still. That woman. She too was named Aura. Perhaps it was that chance bond that led her spirit to me. And through me she called to you. To one whose strength of will outmatched the master of this place. Arisen or no, my own will seems a guttering candle to your sun. I shall remain here a while, I think, to contemplate the meaning of our meeting here.
No, she's just telling us that she's gonna stay here. Okay, so you can enter and do this entire dungeon again. Everything is locked like it was previously, so you need to go through every one of the entrances and zones, and you get a second form of Daimon, which is called, I think, Daimon 2.0 they call them, and obviously everything's harder. In some of the rooms there's like extra bosses and some things like that. Just generally like a hard mode version of the game. But I do not want to spend time doing that. It's going to take a long time, and obviously I wanted just to show off the content, and I hope you guys enjoyed this series. I really do. You know, you can comment below or ask me to do another game, but I think I'll go with Pillars of Eternity next. It seems like something that my PC can run actually smoothly, unlike this game at parts. So yeah, thank you guys very much for watching this series. I hope you enjoyed it, and you know, if you want to check it out, you should check it out. I give it a recommendation. Maybe I don't know, I don't want to give it a rating or anything. I just want to say I recommend it. It's a good game. Flawed but good. All right, so thank you guys very much for watching. I'll see you again sometime.